I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
There you are. Buy our merch.
Here we are.
And a child shall lead them. This is a very special song for a very special villager lady.
Jen.
Shout out to Jen. Shout out to Helen Dross, one of the big homies. And this song is called Brutus. No, actually, the name of the song is War, actually. Jihad, jihad, jihad. But the name of the band is Brutus, I believe. And this is live at Rain City. Let's go.
Jesse,
Yes.
is it possible that I have a little bit of clean empty this because I only have one?
Sure, I'll throw out the clean one a little bit.
Okay, rolling.
Did we
gonna be very, very interesting. Very interesting selection.
What is the name of the song?
Brutus is the name of the band. War. War is the name of the song. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, okay.
Good Lord. All right.
I'm actually, I know there's not a lot of lyrics here, but I'm actually a little bit confused as to what our world is gone. Did we ever grieve or cry? No. It sounded like kind of like a breakup there.
Yep.
I came for help. Did you really pull my hair? That part was a little bit confusing to me because, like, pulling hair, I only know two situations in which people would do that. One is when you're a kid. I guess three. One, when you're a kid and somebody's pulling your hair because they have a crush and they don't know how to really deal with it, so they yank on the girl's hair, dip it in the inkwell back in the day. Or pull your hair because they're being mean, or obviously relationally, sexually. Other than that, so I'm not really sure. Did you really just pull my hair?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is it one of those, or is there one I'm not thinking of?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. It's either a little kid, you know, when he's being bad. I used to read this book, Sideways Stories from Wayside School.
Yeah.
And this girl had pigtails, and one of the characters, like, he couldn't help but yank it.
Yeah.
And he would describe, like, how he would get the girl's hair in his hand and how it felt in his hand, and then he would yank it. I had this girl in school at the time named Bukio Vangsai. I still remember her name. Shout out to Bukio Vangsai. And she was Asian, but she was like a dark kind of Asian. I don't know where she was from. Extremely exotic look. And we were in, I want to say, 3rd grade. So I used to read that book, and Bukio used to sit like that way. So she was one desk ahead and to the right, and she had these pigtails, and I always used to, like, read that book, and, like, I would try to gin up the energy to, like, pull her hair, you know, because, like, that's what the guy did when he liked the girl, but I never did. I was never able to do it. So we would just do crafts and stuff together. I think she liked me. I feel like she liked me. I don't know, but I couldn't do it. Couldn't pull her hair. So there you go. Yeah. She's probably Cambodian. Look at the Cambodian, you racist.
But in this song, like, it didn't sound like she liked it.
Okay.
Did you really just pull my hair? And then it was like, and then it says unleash your warmth. So, like, I guess what I was kind of getting from the song was that he didn't really know how to express himself warmly to her in a loving way. So, like, you know, like the kid, when he pulls her hair, it's because he likes her, but what he just does by yanking her hair is painful. Like, when you have 2 braids and somebody yanks your one braid and your head goes like this,
yeah,
like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to be playful with you. Like, it seems mean. And so I think that a lot of times a girl can misunderstand what that is. And also, it can be the start of bad messaging because, you know, like, people will be like, oh, that's because he likes you. Okay, so he hurt me and that means that he likes me. And that's, like, a good thing. Right. So I actually think it was a good thing that you didn't feel like you couldn't gin yourself up to yank her hair to express the fact that you liked her. So you did crafts with her. I think that's good. That's healthier. Like, you made friends with her, you made crafts together, and, like, that was the way that you expressed it. I don't think that it's healthy when boys think that to be mean to a girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, from the boy's perspective, oh, it's a playful thing, but can you imagine, like, randomly someone just yanks and your head flips to the side? It's not a good feeling, and it's a confusing message. So she says, unleash war. Your hate will always be my guide. Unleash your warmth. This time again, or after all the tears we had, no more. So to me, it kind of seems like a girl that's kind of stuck in this spot where I think she likes him. I'm not sure. But his expressions toward her are not coming, like, she's saying unleash your warmth. She wants his warm side. She wants his loving side. And your hate will always be my guide. Like, I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kellen Dross was saying, first of all, we got to pause for a second. We have to. Shout out to Phoebe. You remember Phoebe? We played her fight song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's in the stream right now. I just posted her
The one that he calls him her lady, his lady.
Yeah, the fighter, the daughter.
Oh.
She was in. She just thanked us. So.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We were very, very happy to do that.
Much love to you, sis. Keep moving. Keep fighting.
Oh, the fight song. I was thinking of a
command
relationship.
thee. We command thee.
Yes.
Keep fighting.
Yes, and keep coming around us.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're probably right. Like it like war of the sexes type thing. And it seems like she was in a relationship with a misogynistic type dude, and she came to realize that, and so now they're at war. They're going to be at war almost perpetually with each other. And then she says, unleash your warmth, which I think is a double entendre to a degree. I came to you for help. Did you really just pull my hair? Which I think can go, but I think it validates both of what you're saying. One is when you're young, we've got these structures. It's very strange in Western society because this is not universal. It's not universal that people pull a girl's hair when they're kids. Like, that doesn't happen in the eastern side of the world. You know what I mean? So the things that we do, we think are normal because we've normalized them, but they're not universal. Kissing is almost universal, but hair pulling is something very, very particularly Western, and it's interesting because in the Islamic world, of course, the hair is sexualized. Because the woman's hair is covered, it creates this sort of forbidden fruit type of thing, which then kind of works backwards. So if you did that in an Islamic context, dudes would get at you because that's like, I remember one time, that was when the last year I did school with you. He's talking to
his brother right now.
Last year I did school with my brother. These two Somali girls were fighting, and it went all over the place. Like, I cannot believe what she did to so and so, blah blah blah. And then it turned out that all she did was pull off her hijab, the head covering.
Yeah, but that's probably like
that was a big
someone or something.
So that's not something like across the world where everybody does it. And you know what's interesting? Like right now, people are starting to look at some of these Western traditions or things that are normalized, and now everything is being questioned.
Scrutinized, yeah.
And people are going, this is ridiculous. This is stuff we did as kids. So like the whole Pepe Le Pew situation, like where like dude was like clearly imposing himself onto this girl.
Seriously? Okay, so this keeps happening, which actually I haven't even told you. Oh my God. So our kids are very like, I don't know when you say woke, they're very like up on the times. They recognize when something is like, you shared Pepe Le Pew with them and Johan was like, what did he say?
He said somebody's going to the hospital. Me or that guy.
Me or the skunk.
Me or the skunk.
Yeah. But it was very concerning to both of them when they saw it. They couldn't believe that was even a kid's cartoon. And I was like, really? Let me see that again. And so then I looked at it from like different eyes and I was like, yeah, that is a problem. Like, he was clearly throwing himself on her. She didn't want it. She was running from him out of breath.
Yeah.
And he finds her and forces himself on her. But I was raised on that stuff. So the kids are like, you know, Mom, what did you think about those cartoons when you were a kid? I was like, I didn't think anything of them. And so, you know, Dorian, he thinks also, he says, what do you mean you didn't think anything of it? I said, well, I didn't realize that there was a problem. He was like, I wonder how much other stuff that you thought was okay that wasn't a problem. And like, it's a weird situation to be in because there's so much of that from growing up that like my parents, you know, we couldn't watch Disney films, but that was okay. And like, now I'm like, wait a minute. So the magic was bad, but this predatory skunk that actually, when you look at the way that they're projected, he even seems older than her.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a very weird thing.
In that clip, he was calling her his Lolita.
Right.
And Lolita is a book about an underage girl and a college professor who falls in love with her and has this sexual sort of attraction to this prepubescent girl.
So there was a problem with this cartoon. It's a very, very weird. So like these situations keep popping off where they're like, well, what did you think about that? And like, I was like, I didn't I didn't think anything of it.
And people go, oh, come on, it's Pepe Le Pew, it's for kids. It's like, yeah, but that explains a lot of the shit that I saw in 2nd and 3rd grade. I didn't do it. I mean, I had we had a Jamaican mother. The culture's different. Like, we didn't, I did about like a year, because you're doing school like 3 and 4 years old in Jamaica. And it's not pre-K shit. I mean, it's school. That never happened. That pulling the girl's hair and putting your hands on her and shit. There was one time, me and my friend, I forgot what happened, but basically a girl got pushed to the ground or something like that, and they beat us in the school. Like they had a little like a little wire type of thing. They used to call it the tiger, and then they had this other thing they called that the snake, and then then they had this other thing called the scorpion. And the teacher was like, "You're gonna get the tiger for that," and sure enough, bang bang.
Gosh.
This is Jamaica. We don't play that shit, bro. So when I came to America, I saw this. I was like, holy shit, okay, a little different here. But I was always too scared to do it, just because I got the tiger when I mess with it. So I'm like, I'm good, man. so like, yeah, like that whole, like, if you connect the hair pulling thing is really interesting. I came to you for help. Did you pull my hair? So it's kind of like a double entendre to a degree, because it's like, I came for you to help, and then you sexualized the situation and got what you wanted, basically. And then it says, unleash your warmth, which obviously also has a sexual connotation to it as well. And Sori doesn't know what it is, so you guys can do whatever you want with that. So
I didn't pick up on that. Yeah, I had a friend that was in a really, really terrible situation, very abusive, and she went to someone that she viewed as someone that would be helpful in the situation and protective, and someone a bit older than her.
Yeah.
And he just completely took advantage of her in that situation. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, he did. He did. And yeah. Oh, go ahead.
So that's kind of like a weird, if that's what you're saying, I came to you for help. Did you really just I don't know. So the whole thing is kind of just icky. Like, yeah. Ugh. I don't know. I don't even know what to say, because when I start thinking about this subject too much, it starts getting me pretty angry, because it's like, if you don't have the training or the teaching to know that something is definitively wrong, like I said before, like there was something I was talking to the kids about. It was some show that I had watched when I was a kid, or a movie. I can't even remember what it was. But as I was telling the story, the whole situation was comical to me. But then somebody was like, wait, the guy was older than the girl? And I said, well, yeah, but... And then they were like, well, isn't that kind of predatory? And then, like, when I look back at it, I was like, holy shit, that was a really bad, terrible story, but I didn't even realize it. Like, it was somebody that was older and the girl was younger, but it was. I can't remember what it was. I wish I could tell you guys, but I was like, oh my God, I keep landing in these situations with the kids where I didn't even realize how terrible certain shows were, or certain ideas, or... Yeah. They're wiser than I am on it. I'm like, well, that's good. I'm glad they're wise to this stuff, but wow.
So it looks like she ended up in the relationship with this dude because she needed help or something like that. Then they got into a relationship, and then he just became...
I think you're right, though.
I think she discovered... Go ahead.
I think at first she was, like, didn't realize how the situation actually was. Which is why she said, our world, it's gone. Did we ever grieve or cry? No. And I think that she wakes up to the idea. Yes, I know I'm not single. I'm married to Vinny.
Who's saying it? Who?
Somebody had asked if I was single.
Oh, the guy that I banned?
Oh, you banned him?
Yeah, because he asked if Cassio was single too.
Well, what's wrong with him asking if people are single?
Well, nothing wrong with it. He can ask other people stuff later. Continue. Go ahead. Make your point.
Anyway, so... our world has got... So, yeah, so I kind of agreed with you on that it was probably one of those things where, she realizes that like, their relationship changes, the nature of their relationship changes drastically, where what they had, because she didn't realize how things were. But then as she grows, she starts saying, wait a minute, I came to you for help, this happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, as you mature and you start looking at certain situations, there's certain things that I look back at when I was a teenager and I'm like, well, that was a really bad situation. How did I not realize how bad that was? So maybe that's happened to her in her relationship, and then it just changed it.
Well, she says, your hate will always be my guide. So yeah, it just looks like she woke up to the fact that
he was a misogynist.
And I don't know if I'm saying he was a misogynist because this is a song dedicated to Jen, so maybe I projected and assumed the message of the song, but it just looks like this time again, after all the tears we had, no more. So it was one of those things where she could never get herself out of the relationship. And she says this time again, after all the tears we had, no more. I think like she just hit her end. Like it's over. I'm not going back to this situation. And really, and it's crazy. People say it's a thin line between love and hate, but it I don't know if she's literalizing like your hate will always be my guide, or if it's just their relationship has gotten so toxic where an observer would be like, okay, these people hate each other. But it seems like from her vantage point, the hate is in one direction, which is your hate will always be my guide. So if it's one of those situations where the guy ended up being very abusive and all the rest of it, then yeah, she needs to get the hell out of Dodge.
I think the unleash your warmth part is her wanting him to change, because I think she wants him. Like, I think she wants him to be right so they can be together in a good way.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think she wants him to unleash his warmth so that way they can go back to kind of like their world where it is more how she perceived it to be.
Yeah, I mean, dudes generally have the advantage in that situation because a girl is a lot less likely to end the relationship. They'll keep coming back over and over again if the guy says, hey, I'm going to be different this time, because it's a lot harder. Women are just generally more nurturing and more emotional, and a lot of times guys are looking at their I told you, like, I had this friend I used to work with, and he'd be like, man, I love this girl, she's the one. And then 2 weeks later he'd be like, I'm not happy, and he was already working on his next victim while he was with Shorty. So I don't know, it just seems to me guys are it's easier for dudes to just like get out of a relationship and move on to the next one, whereas with women, especially if they've put so much into it,
I think too that
it's harder
women
for them.
I'm not saying that there are not men that want this too, but I think that women want to be, have that sort of unconditional love, that deep love that somebody has for them, that they can trust. And I think that when, like, a lot of times if a guy gets like abusive and then he realizes, oh my gosh, he's like pushed her away with his abuse or whatever, then he like lays it on real thick how much he loves her, brings the gifts, and he becomes that man that she really, really wants. And so then she's like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've, like, it fills some need that's inside of her, and it, like, I don't know, like kind of calms her and like heals her in a little bit of a sense. So then I think she's like, okay, you know what, this is what I've been looking for, so I'm gonna stay. But then it doesn't last, and then he goes back to his abusiveness. But then it's like this cycle that kind of she finds herself in, that she has to look at him as a whole picture instead of looking at him in just one scene, which is he's not just the guy that apologizes and brings in the roses, he's the guy that treated you really badly and then brought the roses. So she has to recognize who he is, and then, like you said, you have to get yourself out of that situation. If it's an abusive situation, you need to get out of there, and he needs to get the help that he needs to get. So, maybe in the future something can happen between the two of you, but for now, you got to get yourself out of that abusive situation. Don't die in there.
Yeah, and yeah, people are putting out the stats that women initiate divorces more than men. Yeah, all the divorce does, brothers and sisters, is say that this is the legal status of this relationship. That doesn't mean that even after the divorce that the woman is completely moved on with her life, because I've seen it myself. So that's the point. So yeah, good song. No, I wasn't saying hair pulling during sex is necessarily wrong, but using somebody's desperate situation to fulfill yourself sexually is wrong, I think.
And it's like we said before, there's two people involved in the act, and if both parties are wanting to do a certain thing, not that they're like saying yes reluctantly, but both parties want to engage in something, and she wants her hair pulled and he wants to pull it, whatever, But if one doesn't want to do it, then that's all part of. That's why the Bible talks about sex in terms of saying they knew each other or knowing each other, because it's about knowing what that person desires in that moment and you expressing what you desire in that moment, and then you kind of bring those two together to kind of like fulfill each one's desires together. So that's how that's supposed to be.
Yep.
I think a lot of that is lost though, because our like world has become so focused a lot on pornography that it's a very one-sided thing. It's like you search for the videos that you want to see and then you watch them and then you pleasure, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like created, so it kind of like trains your mind to not know a person, but just to kind of know yourself, which is obviously not bringing two people together.
I wanted Jen's opinion. In my opinion, your hate will always be my guide is internalizing the hate from former partners and turning that into fuel to not allow it to happen again. I agree, and I think that's somewhat that can be very, very unhealthy, because
absolutely
what happens is that runs into the danger of projecting your previous trauma into your current relationship, which may not be helpful. And I always say this to people about defense mechanisms. People always immediately say that defense mechanisms are bad. Well, a 10-layer fur coat in Antarctica will save your life. That same coat in the Sahara will kill you.
Right.
So defense mechanisms are important if you understand the context and if you have the self-awareness to realize why that defense mechanism is important. The problem is when we universalize our defense mechanisms. So if we say, "Oh, this fur coat worked well in Antarctica, that means it's going to work well everywhere." Well, no. Sometimes your defense mechanism will kill you. So, so you just have to understand with this is for everybody, and just as a principle, any defense mechanism that you use can kill you if the context is wrong. So that's just something to think about. But I agree. I love the rhythm change. And I love the fact that she didn't get like rah, because that's a pattern. That's a pattern, like the thing where like you put the made up girl in there and she says something nice, and then you do some weird rhythm change, and all of a sudden rah, and you're supposed to go holy shit, which it happens. It happened with what's the name of that band? Ginger. Everybody, that song. Everybody did that, and then your favorite band now, whatever.
Spirit Box.
I'm glad that they just sang.
Yeah, she did very good. It's a 9.9 for me.
What? A 9.9?
I know. I almost want to tip it to a 10 because I really liked it, but I'm like 2 10s back to back. I liked it though.
9.2. I'm gonna give her credit for being on the drums and still doing that shit. But I was gonna say I want to see it live, but that was her live.
That was live. So,
I mean, she's just the boss. Forget it.
Right.
All right, there you are, dear listener. Moral of the story is, if you're a girl, learn to play the drums. Vin out.
Don't let boys pull your hair unless you want them to. Sorry, out.
Gone.